Moving on to London now, scuffles have broken out between police and students who took to the streets protesting the government's cuts to free education. Organizers of the rally say that more than 10,000 students took part. The angry demonstrators say plans to scrap grants will prevent poor students from entering universities. The leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, has backed the demonstration. Corbyn had earlier said the plans for education cuts would lead to, quote, scapegoating and the deportation of international students. Well, correspondent Mohammed Walji, who was at the scene there, bringing some of the videos that you just saw, footage that you just saw, joins us again from the streets of London. So, Mohammed, at this point, it appears from the looks of it, things have calmed down, or are they?
Well, the seeds have calmed down now. The police have dispersed the protesters. A lot of them now have made their way back home. A lot of them have come from many universities from across the country. But you could see from the footage, I'm sure that you saw, that the tensions were very high between the police and the protesters. And you can see that's because the students here are really angry about what the Conservative government has been doing. I'm now actually joined by two of those students who were involved in the protest today, Raj and Kat. Raj and Kat, thanks very much for joining us here today. Yeah. Tell me why you came to the protest today.
Well, we're here to protest tuition fees and the recent changes about maintenance grants. And yeah.
How have they affected you badly?
Well, the tuition fees, obviously, because they're an absurd sum of money. So those obviously have. The maintenance grants, well, they won't affect me personally because they will be implemented a little bit after. But for many people, they will. They will.
Kat, why did you come today?
I think I came mainly because the prospect of having more money to pay after I graduate just isn't inviting to me or to anyone else.
Do you think that these changes will affect people actually coming to university?
Yeah, I definitely think it will put people off, and obviously, as I said, it's not inviting, so people aren't going to think, oh yeah, let's go to university and have to pay back a load of money. So.
Do you think the Conservative government's policies are somewhat elitist?
Well, yeah, they would be, wouldn't they? If you're going to have a government that only represents the very rich, then their policies are going to reflect that, and they do, obviously.
Just funny, do you think since Jeremy Corbyn became the Labour leader, do you think students have become more politically engaged, or?
Well, yeah, Jeremy Corbyn's support for, scrapping tuition fees and all that has probably helped a great deal for students to think, maybe there's possibility for change, I suppose. Yeah, so probably, yeah.
So are you angered by what's happening with the Conservative government?
Frankly, it's such that you just want to stay out of it. It's because you realise there's nothing you can do, and so yeah, it is anger, but I mean, eventually you just have to live with it, so yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, both of you. Well, you can see there that there is anger amongst the students, but it's also made them politically apathetic because they feel it's difficult for them to make a change. And that's why they're coming out to protests like this, because for some of these students, this is the way to get their message across, to say that we're not happy with the policies that you, the Conservative government, are putting forward. And as you mentioned, the numbers were so high today, on a day where actually the weather was awful, it's a weekday, but the students still came out in such high numbers. So you can see that they're very angry. You can see how much it means to them, and you can see how much change they really want.
Yes, and before I let you go, it's interesting that the male protester that you were just talking to said that, it's really not going to make a difference with these protests in terms of the policy towards the tuition fees. Mohammed Walji, tell him that in South Africa, they just had these protests against the rise in tuition fees, and it worked. Jacob Zuma backed down from raising tuition fees. So protests do make a difference. Thank you for that. Mohammed Walji, correspondent there from London.